My name is Martin, I'm a professional communication and social skills expert, and in today's video I will show you how you yourself can become a better storyteller. I was telling stories on YouTube since I was 12 years old. I will show you 3 of the most important things that every good storyteller uses so you yourself can save years of communication trouble and communication mistakes. One of the best and one of the strongest things you can do is to make a great hook. This happened to all of us in our lives. When some politician or maybe one of your friends told you, yo, listen, I have just went through some absolutely insane shit yesterday. Let me tell you a story about it. That is a great hook. You can see that hooks you in and you are like, what was so crazy about it? And the best thing about hooks is that you can use everything. You can use any word that you yourself desire. It doesn't have to be crazy. Maybe the story was joyful. Maybe the story was frightening. Maybe the story was one of the happiest moments in your entire life. So lead with that. Lead with what are you gonna show, because then people will know what they can expect. They can expect that, oh shit, this is gonna be a really happy story. You can do whatever hook you personally like, and that's why I'm telling you this simple hack. That hook will attract the right people to you, because those people will also relate to that hook and they'll be like, whoa, that's actually impressive. I want to hear that story. And to be honest, the solution on this is very, very, very simple. You just need to consciously be aware of when you are starting to tell a story, to lead with a hook. Lead with it. This story is absolutely insane. This story is one of the craziest things that has happened to me. This is one of the saddest stories that has happened to me. If you lead with this, people will be more drawn in. They'll be like, whoa, that's interesting. I want to hear that. Do you know that time when someone told you this stupid line? Dude, listen, man, listen. I have something on my mind, but unfortunately I cannot tell you. This happened to all of us in our lives, and we fucking hate it when someone does that to us. We're like, dude, why the fuck did you say that? If you wanted to say it, don't create this absolutely insane hook. Because this is, I believe this is one of my best hooks. This hook is so powerful because it gets people intrigued. Because first, you give them a few words like, oh dude, I have a crazy thing on my mind. That thing draws them in. That thing draws them to you. And then, but unfortunately I cannot tell you. And then that pushes them away. And they're like, okay, so he wanted to tell me something and now I cannot have it. So tell me more, I want to know. Whenever you are maybe telling someone your knowledge from the past, or giving someone advice, or maybe you are telling a story, this insane hook, like this is insane, because first you are drawing them in, like come, I want to tell you something, and then no, you cannot have it. This is what businessmen use also. It's called scarcity. So we are basically using the same concepts as businessmen in our communication, because businessmen, what they tend to do is, oh, by the way, I have a course on how to make money, and then they're like, oh, but you have to first finish this formula to get inside, because we have to qualify you to get inside our program. And then you're like, so you first gave me the course so I can buy it, but now I cannot have it because I have to go through some document and I have to fill out my name and blah blah. And that creates this scarcity, like, oh, I first have to qualify. An action step for this is very simple. Every single day, before you tell a story, before you tell something knowledgeable, use a hook. Something that is interesting, compelling, and it hooks the other person to listen to you. Plot twists are one of the best, strongest storytelling hacks you can ever have. Because, remember, at the start we told them this is going to be a really cheerful story. But if suddenly something becomes super angry, super sad, and super negative, people are gonna be like, this guy said it is gonna be a fucking happy story. Why are I crying right now? So that's the reason why we lead with this strong hook. This is gonna be a happy story. And then you completely switch it around and you go like, and then this happened to me. Then this person died. At the beginning, because you said this is gonna be a happy story, you then can switch around, and at the end, it will actually be really happy. Don't get me wrong, do not lie. If some story is absolutely crazy, yes, say the word crazy. You need to draw them in, and people need to know, oh my god, this is going to be sad. But you might argue that the hook at the beginning destroyed a lot of mystery that the story has. And that's why we need to have plot twists in our story. Because if we have plot twists in our story, people will be like, okay, this is going to be a sad story, I know what to expect. But if our story is interesting and it has plot twists, they'll be like, whoa, I have not expected that. To be honest, there are a lot of stories you can tell. Probably you yourself have a ton of stories in your own mind that you can already tell someone random on the street. So the next time you will say them, please lead with a hook and actually try to dramatize and plot twist a lot of points there. Let me tell you one of my greatest stories I've ever had in my entire life. One day I was sitting on a bench with two of my friends. One friend here, me in the middle, right here. And I, myself, with them were eating chips. We were just eating chips, minding our own business, people all around us. Birds chirping, kids laughing all around us, teenagers on bikes everywhere, and we were just having a good time. But then, in 2 minutes, the whole city, the whole street cleared out. Everyone disappeared. And we were completely shocked what was happening. Because only me and one and second of my friend actually stood there on that bench. And nobody was suddenly around us. And then there was one person who stood next to us. But this person was no ordinary man. This person was bald. He had a black jacket and he looked angry. But the worst of all, he had 15 more people behind him and they were ready to fuck up someone that day. And we saw this guy going from this direction. But then a second guy appeared. Also black jacket, little bit of hair on his head. And he came from this side. And again, 15 people behind him. And we were looking like, what the fuck is about to go down? Both of these men looked angry. These both men came head to head with each other. They locked eye contact. They stared at each other's soul. They knew what was about to happen. These two guys with 15 people behind them started screaming at each other and they started to swear at each other. They started to say, fuck you, why did you do this, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. Then it came to pushing. They started to push each other and then, what the fuck, why did you push me? And they started screaming at each other. But then the fight escalated so much that the other guy had enough. And he punched the other guy across his cheek. He fell to the ground and he jumped on him and he started beating his ass. But then, after 2 minutes of these two guys fighting, their both girlfriends came from each side. And both of their girlfriends just pulled them apart and said, stop, stop, honey, stop, stop, that's enough, stop doing that. And then they said, alright, but I'm gonna see you again. And they both left. And me and my friends were just looking like, what the fuck just happened? If these guys were to saw us, we would probably be dead. And you can see, that story had insane amount of plot twists. First, the whole city cleared out. Second, the first guy appeared, angry. Third of all, the guy with hair appeared. Again, 15 people behind them. And then they started screaming at each other. Another plot twist. Boom, boom, punch. Another plot twist. Started fighting. And then the girlfriends pulled them apart. And the ending of the story. And you can see that story had so many plot twists. You could just sense how the story was formed. You could sense how everything looked like. And that's why plot twists are extremely powerful. Because first, we tell them, this is one of the craziest stories that has happened to me. And then we follow up on that promise and we give them million plot twists. And they will be like, what the fuck, that was insane. That was a crazy story. So, an action step for you is to next time dramatize a ton. Whenever you will tell a story, first of all, don't lie and don't try to make up your story on the spot because you'll fucking stumble over your words and you will stay saying, and you will fucking fumble, so don't fucking do that. And second of all, already pick a story that is interesting. You don't make an interesting video when you are editing it. You make an interesting video when you are recording it. So that's why the story first needs to happen and it has to be extremely interesting. And then you can have plot twist inside of there. But remember, even if you have plot twists in your story, you might not be able to communicate them efficiently. And that's why I have made a fucking awesome community for people just like you who want to improve their social skills to the next level and become great and awesome storytellers. I teach in my community multiple things. I teach charisma, communication, first impressions, body language, storytelling, leadership, conversations, everything. Anything you can think about is down there. So if you want to improve your communication skills to the next level, go ahead and click the first link in the description. But now, back to plot twists. When you are communicating your plot twist, you need to tell the person that this is a plot twist. The story is changing. The story changed itself. And you do that by slowing down. If you start speaking very fast, like Eminem, for example, if you start speaking like this, nothing seems important. But imagine if I was talking like Eminem like this and then I suddenly slowed down. That looked very interesting. And you suddenly started focusing even more. That's why when you are, for example, telling a plot twist, slow down. Because your audience will understand, ooh, something is about to go down. Something crazy is about to happen. Slowing down is one of the strongest ways how can you make the story intense and insane. So solution for this: next time when you will be in a conversation, go ahead and dramatize everything. And the second thing, when a plot twist will happen, slow down, because then your audience will be like, whoa, something is about to go down. Hand gestures. Remember, when I was telling my story, I said, this guy came from this side, but this guy came from this side. And that made you visualize like, oh, this guy came from this side and this guy came from this side. And also at the beginning, I was in the middle. I am here. And this was my first friend and this was my second friend. So you could actually know where we were on the bench. You now know that, oh, I'm in the middle. And second of all, this guy is here and this guy is here. And you will know that this is happening because I've shown it to you by my hand movements. And also really important thing about hand gestures is that you can create, you can do visual things. You know, when you are watching YouTube videos and there's also these subtitles, these text, these memes popping everywhere, you can a little bit recreate them in real life if you use your body to express them. If you use your hand gestures and you will show them, oh, I had this big gun and I started pointing the gun at him and he was super scared, like, oh, please don't kill me, please don't kill me. And I was, shut the fuck up, dude, give me the money. If you want to make your story super interesting, go with the hand movements. Every single good storyteller uses hand movements because they know how visual effects work. And I will also give you a second bonus tip that nobody talks about in the communication skills charisma industry. Use sound effects. Use them. Do you remember that meme? That meme was created because she made that sound effect. Make sound effects so people can understand even better. Video is components of two: visual effects and sound effects, or voice. If you will understand and actually understand how your voice works, so you can change your voice like Mickey Mouse, for example, or you will go really down and now I sound like a 30-year-old male. If you will understand the power behind your voice, you can create massively good stories because you are changing. You're not going like, my name is Martin and in today's video I will show you how you can become a better communicator. No, that's boring. You will probably fall asleep. Again, sound effect. You are sleeping. Again, sound effect. So when you are using hand gestures, combine them with sound effects. Nobody talks about this in the industry. No one. And I'm the first one who I've seen talk about this. Nobody is talking about sound effects. And they make such great stories. Remember when I was telling you I was eating chips with my friends? I did this. And when I told you that the guy punched the guy, I did the sound effect. That's why you need to use sound effects and combine them with hand gestures. Hand gestures, visual effects, sound effects, and your pitch and your tone of voice, sound effects. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Click the first link in the description if you want to learn more. Live a happy life. Yeah.